Welcome to Chik, the podcast where the girl with many titles talks about life, the good and the bad, and everything around it. We're going to sit, chat, share life stories and experiences, from business to relationship. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Chik podcast. Today I've got a very special guest, and this is Harvey. So I'm going to let Harvey introduce himself in a minute, but for those of you that have listened to the other podcasts, I've mentioned you now a good few times. This is the Harvey that I talk about in terms of being like a supportive friend, and just actually one of the people that inspired me to start a podcast as well, which I've literally just remembered now. So yeah, I absolutely love that. So we'll get into that. So I'll let you introduce yourself first, and then maybe if you could talk about like what you remember of how we met, because your memory is so good as well, and I think there are going to be things that you remember that, you know what I'm like, that that I forget.
Okay, yeah, thank you for having me. I'm glad we could finally arrange to do this. So yeah, I'm Harvey. I'm a digital marketing consultant, and also do a bit of public speaking. And I've got my podcast, The Social Sanctuary. So mainly I work with businesses on digital marketing services to help them solve problems and think about new ways of doing things and solving challenges that they've got. So I started out in 2013 doing IT support, both to businesses and individuals. And then eventually through work placements and through my time at sixth form and at uni, it evolved into and then social media and influencer marketing as well. So it's changed completely from what I started off doing. And yeah, we met, it was in 2013, I think, or maybe 2014.
Probably 14.
Yeah, but because we both came through the same competition, the big challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I contacted you for some help with doing my final presentation to the judges. And then I remember we met for a Starbucks, and you were giving me loads of tips on public speaking and what helped you, because you won it the year before, didn't you? And then yeah, I think it was Twitter that I messaged you on, and
Oh,
um,
was it?
yeah,
Oh,
so
I think I completely forgot that.
because I had no other way of contacting you, so I just sent you a Twitter message, and it's crazy to think that, like, if I'd have not done that, would our paths still have crossed? Which I
Yeah,
think they would have done,
yeah,
but I don't know if we'd have like become such good friends. Would have
yeah.
probably just seen each other, and it'd be more like someone you just see at events and stuff.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's really funny because I forgot to say to you before. So whenever we used to meet at Starbucks, we genuinely we end up meeting all the time at different Starbucks. But it's now
Yeah, we did.
it's now pumpkin spice latte season, and my first one every year was with you until I moved to Northern Ireland, and I had my first one when we were flying to England last week. And it's till this day. I was even telling G, I was like, yeah, this was mine and Harvey's thing. Oh,
Yeah,
class.
it's any seasonal drinks that
Yeah,
come out. We
yeah,
used to make a day of it and go
yeah.
and like, have one for the first time. And I still think about that. And I know that our favourite Starbucks in Sheffield, it's closed now, but like the hours we used to spend sat in
Yeah,
there just chatting and sometimes having multiple drinks because we
yeah,
were in there that long. But it was so good, and yeah, that's just how we got to know each other, and then started going to concerts, and
yeah,
just yeah, it's been amazing, really, how it's all evolved from that one
yeah,
initial meet.
yeah. Do you know what? I'll come back to all of that because I think even like how you talked about the fact that if you hadn't reached out, then God knows what would have happened because really, like, you are basically family now. Like, even for my parents, for everyone else, you have just become a part of the family. So, yeah, we'll come
Oh,
back to that in a sec. But so for
okay.
the opening of the podcast, I always do a challenge of the week. So actually,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to change this a little bit because I've changed it in my community as well on Facebook, where I say you can talk about a challenge or you can share like a content tip. because we focus quite a lot in the business in terms of content, and obviously you're in marketing. So are there any trends, or is there anything at the moment that you think is quite interesting in terms of how anything's being done on social media?
I mean, it's something that I'm having a challenge with myself is remembering to share what I'm doing and also going out of my way to make videos and getting TikTok and Instagram Reels a bit more. So yeah, I think that the trend at the minute is like short form content and offering quick advice and top tips in like 60 seconds or under is what is working for a lot of clients at the moment. And I think it'll stay that way with video content. But yeah, I'm just generally rubbish at doing it myself. And I know we've had numerous conversations about just having the confidence to like film stuff that I'm doing and
Yeah,
just not worrying about like what other people think of it because I tell clients what to do, but then when it comes to me doing
yeah,
it
yeah,
myself, like when I'm with you, it's not a problem because you're just so
yeah.
natural
I
at
don't
doing
mind. I'm like, woo, cameras out.
it. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to get more into myself is for so many people have told me I should be doing more of it and but it takes so much time as well. Because I put a reel together for myself on Saturday and I spent like an hour doing it and you don't realize
Yeah,
that such a short video can take so much time, but equally, like I'd say don't overthink things, just don't worry about having the equipment or anything, just go with it.
yeah. I love that because I think I'm similar to you where I know that 60 seconds works, but I've been spending a lot of time on TikTok, and I know that
Hmm.
TikTok seems to be kind of like 2 weeks ahead of Instagram. So one, like, I suppose in terms of my tip or what I've noticed as a trend, I'm trialing out where I'm posting maybe so on TikTok I'm trying to go like a backup account where I just test things. So I'm trying to do two short form TikToks and then one longer form because I've noticed that they changed it so you could record up to 10 minutes, which means
Yeah,
obviously then they're gonna eventually want the longer ones. But I want to see, can I jump onto it quickly and get used to doing 10 minutes? Because if I can, not 10 minutes, sorry, like longer ones. So maybe let's say 2, 3, 4 minutes. So in those ones, because I know that even on Instagram, they're trying to push stories. So I've noticed that sometimes I post stories and then like some of them might get like 100 views. And then if it's got a particular topic that I've put in a hashtag or I don't know, some bit of wording, even though it's been posted after, there was one the other day that I did and it got to like 400 views. And I was like,
hmm,
what is going on? I know that if they're trying to push stories and you kind of talking on there, I'm practicing on TikTok because sometimes I feel a bit embarrassed to just like sit in the morning and like talk to a camera as if I'm talking to someone.
yeah,
Whereas on TikTok, I don't really mind because like that demographics, like it's not aesthetic. I literally wake up and I'm like, right, so I'm making a cup of tea and this is what I'm like up to and this is what I'm thinking about. And they seem to be doing quite well. So it's just trying to find the balance between long form, the 60-second ones, but then what trending sounds to use as well, which is a bit annoying because
hmm.
it's so hit or miss.
It is, and I think a big frustration for a lot of clients at the minute outside of TikTok is everyone's having trouble with just Meta Suite and
Yeah,
how much they're changing everything all
yeah,
the time and just not communicating any of
yeah.
it with anyone.
Like
It's
you can't even see analytics sometimes. Like it keeps
no,
working on like mine and one of my VAs. For like a week it wouldn't work on mine and then it's working now, but on hers it's still not working. So even to collate information, it's like, oh, I can't even get what I need.
yeah, it's a nightmare and it changes every day, really,
Yeah,
it seems. So yeah, I used to enjoy when Facebook was easy to use and Instagram, but
yeah.
it's not like that at the minute.
Honestly, well, hopefully it gets better.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
sure it will,
yeah.
hopefully.
Okay, so we'll jump back in. So we were talking about before how you messaged me on Twitter. Do you know what? I love this because I've had a few friendships that have started just because vice versa, one of us has messaged the other. So I suppose my
Hmm.
advice would be like, what made you have the balls to even reach out? Because to me, it's such
Uh,
a scary thing to do, especially if you're going to get not. I know that a lot of people wouldn't reject you, but that'd be my first thought. That if I'm bothering someone, or if they reject me, or I don't know if I, I just think really negatively about it. So yeah, what made you think
Yeah.
that?
And do you know what? Thinking about the time that it was like 2013, it wasn't like a natural thing to do to reach out to someone online, like, and then me up. Social media was still, I think it's become, back then it was like, I guess, a bit of a strange thing to do.
Yeah,
But I think because I'd seen you in person at the awards night the year before
yeah,
and seen your success, and I think because you won the big prize, which is what I was always set on at the time. I was
yeah,
like, any tips that I can get to make my presentation as good as it can be,
yeah.
then it's worth it. And I wasn't even expecting you to reply, to be honest, because I
Oh,
know when you message people that you don't follow each other, it sometimes doesn't even go
yeah,
into your inbox. And
yeah,
but then you did, and I was nervous to meet you that first day. I remember
yeah,
my dad took me down, and I just thought, it was, yeah, something that I've never done before. I've not really done it
yeah.
since, to be honest. But
Oh,
sometimes you just get a feeling
yeah,
that it's the right thing to do. And I think as soon as we met, it wasn't so much about the presentation. We just got on really well in
yeah,
general straight away, and we just clicked. And
yeah,
then I was like, I just knew that I needed to see you again afterwards.
yeah.
And you just know, don't you, sometimes when you meet someone.
Yeah, it's so true because it was funny as well. Because for me, so for those of you that don't know, we lived in basically we both lived in Sheffield. So the Starbucks we met in was next to the Crucible. And I remember like it was well, I think it was a really nice day, but I just remember kind of walking past the Crucible and being like, because I think either the snooker was on or it's coming on, and I used to be
Yeah,
quite
it
into
was
the
around
snooker.
that time.
Yeah, and I just remember I just had this weird memory of looking at the Crucible, sitting in there, and then like when we left each other, just being like, I really enjoyed that, and like I really hope we stay friends because, like you're saying, like kind of when you meet someone, but I think it's even the fact that through those years, like that's nearly 10 years, but through those years,
Yeah,
like you said, we've ended up going to concerts together. Like we've been through like massive life events together. Like we've grown in business together. We've just done like obviously I moved countries or like you've been a part of my life for like some of the highest
yeah,
highs and lowest lows. But so much has happened from that. But just from a conversation, I think that's also why I wanted to start the podcast because I think, especially, and I don't want it to be scripted because when you sit and have conversations with someone, you just find out the most random little things and like you really vibe off each other and you come out with stuff that maybe if you were thinking about what to say beforehand and you wanted to perfect it, you maybe wouldn't be as like vulnerable and open and honest. Whereas I feel like we met and it just felt like it was a safe space and there was no judgment, there was nothing to be embarrassed about. Like I learned loads from you as well, but like we've learned from each other and supported
mhm.
each other. And like, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, exactly. And I always say that whenever I've seen you, I always feel really like positive afterwards.
Yeah,
And that's like, you don't always get that with friends. And I
yeah,
think it's important, like, if you can find that in a friendship, then
yeah,
it's the best. But yeah, I think it was just all very natural. And I think we started meeting like every few weeks as like to support each other through what we were setting up at the time, because you were trying to expand your like baking, and then I was
yeah,
just getting started and wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So yeah,
yeah,
we what start it was like our own support club in a way, and then it just
yeah,
evolved into like, yeah, and I think we went to our first concert together by chance, and
yeah.
then it just, yeah, that became our thing then.
Yeah, and we've gone like we've seen so many people. We've gone to so many towns. We've got the funniest stories ever. And do you know what? We'll share one of the stories, and then we'll talk about kind of what you're working on. I know which one You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
But
I do.
yeah, but I think even for me, like when you talked about the concerts, I've always been into music, and obviously we talked about like, okay, we like music. But what I enjoyed about our friendship is the fact that even if we're not into the exact same things, we're both open minded enough to go, it's about the experience and the person that you're with. So, like, we've gone to loads of foodie places. Like I said, we've done the concerts, we've visited different places, we've just done different things, and like done nothing at the same time. But then I like it because
Yeah,
we can talk about business, and it's a friendship that a lot of my friends wouldn't completely understand. Obviously, that because if they're in full time work, it's it's hard. Like you can empathise, but it's difficult when someone like if I say to you, I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning. Like actually, when I texted you, I was saying, oh, I thought I'd like done with some clients, but I got a few texts, and I didn't know kind of what to do, whether just leave it or not. But it's having that kind of support system where you know that you can get
mhm,
support in business, you can get support like it's families as well that we'll talk about like oh sometimes someone might not completely understand. But
yeah,
I feel like where I used to have that frustration with maybe family and people I thought might understand, I don't even have that anymore because I go, okay, I know the person that I would go to if it was about business and like general stuff. I know the people I go to if it's about anything else and even like mental health, all of that. Like we've always been so open. So I think it's important to have those kinds of friendships and it's not just kind of one way, you're not focused on one part of the
yeah.
friendship and it evolves.
Mm-hmm. And it has, yeah, I mean, it has evolved, and like even with all the things we've done, we've done our fair share of things that we've both come away and like realized we both not enjoyed,
Yeah,
whether it's like a restaurant or like
yeah,
when we've gone to visit somewhere. But like you said earlier, just going into things and just doing it for like the company that you're with rather
yeah.
than what you're actually doing.
Yeah, so true. Okay, so we're about kind of halfway-ish through. So in the middle, we ask, so I'll say, like, how are you really doing? So this is kind of a chance
Hmm.
to talk about, like, genuinely, how are you? Like, are you good? Are you not okay? Mental health wise, like, is everything okay? So how are you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really good at the minute. I think there's a lot of heavy stuff going on in the like around us and in the media, and it's hard because you feel like you want to be in control of
Yeah,
everything that's going on, and like especially if you think about the last few months alone, there's been so many things happening like
yeah,
around us that you can't control, and it's hard to stay so positive
yeah,
and there's not really. So I think I'm just trying to like keep myself to myself and just keep on with trying to focus on what I'm doing and
yeah,
not what's going on outside. Obviously, like outside stuff affects us all, but
yeah,
it's yeah, it's like I feel like we're living through like a really weird time, and
yeah,
you think about a few years ago and you think you almost take that for granted when
I
things
do.
were like normal and nothing major happened.
Yeah, yeah. You just complained about, oh, it's a bit too hot or it's a bit too cold. No, I feel like I'm
Yeah,
living through another like traumatic event, like number three of
yeah.
the year. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, okay, so how am I? To be fair, I'm a lot better than I was feeling kind of the past few weeks. I feel like even just
Mm-hmm.
the trip back to England really helped. So just to free up on that time off, like from work and from the heavy stuff, because I think like you're saying, especially when you work in marketing, I've taken this time to kind of stay off my phone as much as possible. So like I even for the baptism or is it christening, whatever you call it, but I was godmother to my niece, so I didn't really need to be on my phone. And then I took my camera and I said that I'd take the pictures for like the whole event from like the morning to
Mm-hmm.
the evening. So that also meant I had no excuse to be taking any footage on my phone, and I could tell like G or my brother or someone else to get anything I needed. So obviously I have to think about content as well. But my little 5 second snippets, I'd just say to someone, oh, "Could you get me 5 seconds of this?" and I'd direct them. But it meant that I wasn't then tempted to go from taking a video to check in Twitter to then an email to something else. So I think yeah, just even that time away has really helped. Even with like my niece and the dogs, and obviously like being so close to my brother, it was nice to spend time with him. But G met the whole family as well, so seeing him around like the most important people, like that was just yeah, that was loads of fun.
Yeah, and yeah, you had the perfect excuse to like put your phone away,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah,
And like
exactly.
I think it's good that you spoke about the camera because you picked up photography as like a
Yeah.
hobby that was something that where you didn't have to, you could just take yourself away and do that and it'd
Yeah.
be a distraction. Like you said, being in marketing, it's impossible to stay away from everything because we're on social media more than most
Yeah.
people. So even if you're going on not for the intention to see something, but you
Yeah.
do because it's there.
Yeah.
So it is hard to like switch off, but
Definitely.
once you what if you can do it and like that's the perfect reason, especially at a weekend as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad that you've had a nice time and been able to step away from it as well.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so talking about then, you were talking about obviously you said even about like me picking up photography as more of a hobby and something I wanted to learn. I know you're working on like a few exciting bits, but
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, oh, which one? What do I want to start with? Do you know what? Just in case we run out of time, I'm going to start. So you know first. Okay, honestly, I just know that you do loads of things that I do want to talk about, and there are things that I want to talk about that again in the future. Then if people want to ask more questions, and there'll be other rounds to this, I'd want to talk about them
Yeah.
more. So first, I think I want to talk about you coming out and how you used social media for all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we can talk about the negativity of social media, and especially when you work with like clients, like you're saying, you log in for the purpose of work, but you're consuming someone else's algorithm that maybe
Yeah.
might not think like you or be like you. And I think in our line of work, and especially when it comes to something like a topic that maybe other people might struggle to digest, it's easy for us to pick up a lot of negativity, which makes us think, do you know what, it's not even worth talking about what really matters to me or how I
Mm-hmm.
feel about something, because I've seen how other people react in general and how they pile on that and how negative people can be. So yeah,
Yeah.
how did you find all of that? And like what made you decide to even do it that way?
I mean, I think I said to you at the time when I came out and just told friends privately, I said that I was never gonna be one of these people that did a big social media post about it. And then I think it was maybe nearly a year later, I decided to do put it out so like fed up of getting questioned and I just wanted
Yeah,
to let everyone know and put it was my way of like putting an end to everything and
yeah,
feeling like it was out there.
yeah,
And I just wanted to share it in the form of an article because there is a lot of negativity and I knew it was going to be one of those posts where either people just either fell out with me and didn't like engage and didn't want anything to do with it, or it could go the other way and it could be really positive. And I'm really glad I did share that post because I had a few messages afterwards from people that I knew and people that I didn't, saying it had helped them or inspired them. I
oh,
did I did get some negativity. Like there's some people that you just don't hear from like
yeah,
since then. But like it was out of all the social media posts I've ever done, it was one of the most reacted to and like one of the most positive. So
yeah,
it was, yeah, it was just, and I think for like extended family as well that you don't get to see very often, it was nice to put something out and for them to read as well.
yeah,
And yeah, it's a tricky one because like even now, so I on my social media profiles have the pride flag like in my bio or name and pronouns on there, and I've had some negative feedback more recently from clients about that.
wow,
And I there's people don't understand it and I get that, but I think
yeah.
it doesn't, I've one person said it was unprofessional. It's not
What?
because yeah, it doesn't take away or affect work in any way. It's just
Exactly.
that in a way it's and it's not even about me. It's a symbol to just say like like a supporter,
Yeah,
an ally. And I remember when I was at university at Hallam, I don't know if they did this when you were there, but some of the staff had pride lanyards on and it said like I'm an ally, like come and talk to me if you
I think
need
so,
support.
yeah.
And that to me was the first time I'd seen any like organization doing anything like that. And I
Yeah.
think now it's getting better and that's the reason I have it on my profiles, just so people know. It's more to say like if you need support, we can chat.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. And to be fair, I think that leads me to then my next thing. You currently, so you just announced that you're also working on a book. So in a second, I'll ask
Mm-hmm.
you to tell us a bit about that. And I know you can't say too much, but what can you tell us? And I think, I think even in the way that you discuss coming out and how it's affected different people, I think what I always remind myself with stuff like that is the people that have an issue and that fall away are people that were never supposed to be in your life
Yeah.
altogether. And when those things fall away, it leads you to focus on other opportunities and see other things. And obviously, this book is, I think, one of those
Mm-hmm.
things that is such a huge sign that you're going down the right path and you're being your authentic self. And even if people have a problem with that,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter because you're going to find someone that looks at you and goes, "You're inspiring, you've inspired me, and you'll inspire other people." So, yeah, tell us about the book.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the book in a way is sort of linked to all of the articles I've written.
Mm,
Because over lockdown, I started doing that as a way to like either vent about things that I didn't agree with or just to start building up my profile because I had a lot more time and like I started doing more press comments and pieces for different magazines and then I knew at the start of this year I've always wanted to write a book, but I saw it being a like a fiction book and
um,
yeah, so I never imagined writing the book that I'm doing at the minute, which is going to be aimed at people starting a business from a young age, like a bit of a
yeah,
how-to guide with my own stories throughout it.
yeah,
And yeah, so I contacted loads of publishers around Easter time this year, and then a lot of them rejected me straight away. And I was determined to find like a gap because there's nothing for young people out there in terms of a guide on how to start a business. It's all aimed at much older people.
yeah,
So yeah, I continued to reach out to different publishers and then didn't hear anything for months. And then towards the end of August, I got an email to just say like, thanks for your book proposal, like congratulations, would love to publish it. And they sent
oh,
me all these contracts over to sign. And obviously I've never done anything in publishing
yeah,
before. So I was a bit skeptical about signing and what I was getting into, but I had a few people look over it and they said it was a good deal. And the thing that I always saw in my head was being able to go into Waterstones and like pick up a
yeah,
copy of the book too.
yeah,
So I thought, if anything, if no one buys the book, I can get to do what I said like I wanted to
yeah,
do. So yeah, it's like and again, I'm not doing it so much to be a bestseller. I'm doing it to if it reaches people and helps them, then that's my reason for doing it. And that's the same with a lot of things I've done recently. And it's always that intention is to just either help or add value. So yeah, hoping it'll come out like April, May next year,
yeah.
all being well. I'm about a quarter through writing
Oh,
it, so it's been a much
exciting.
yeah, it's been a much bigger challenge than I imagined it to
Yeah.
be. But yeah, you do get a mention in there, so
Oh, thanks. I love that.
so yeah, and it's just one of those where you'll know when you start working on something, you think of so much that you want to put in it, and then when your space is limited, you're like,
Yeah.
where do I start?
Yeah, but I think there's so much. I'm so sad that this is only like a quick podcast. We're definitely gonna have to do another one, but I quickly want to talk about like you just talked even about the fact that like you do things because like you want to do them, and even if it inspires just one people, but going from being a younger person then getting into all of this because like we grew up in the same kind of system where as a young entrepreneur it was like, oh great, you're the best, you're amazing, you achieve all these things, but life's not that easy. And I think it's so when you start that young, I think there's so much pressure that I think your attitude is also personally what helps me and what helps me remember that it is just about like it's one person that you want, a person like you that you want to help. So like what keeps you in that kind of mindset and not from veering away to the things that might seem a bit more like glitzy and it might get you some quick money or I don't know, just something
Yeah,
else.
I suppose I could talk for hours about this. I know we've had so many
Yeah,
conversations about it, but there's some things that just don't feel right,
yeah,
and you sometimes have to do the things for money that you don't always enjoy
yeah,
doing, and
yeah,
and you might not always agree with the outcome. But I think, like with the book as an example, and you starting the podcast,
mm,
it's things that we speak about for a long time before we actually do it, and
yeah,
then you do it and you don't know where it's gonna go, but it's
yeah,
things like that that keep you going because you know that you can't put all your time and energy into doing something that
yeah,
isn't going to get you any like reward. But then
mm,
I always say, because people even say, why do I give so much time to charity?
mm,
And it's from doing all this volunteering over the
yeah,
years that's then got me so much paid work. So just
exactly.
because you're not getting paid for something, it doesn't mean that you'll not be rewarded like in the long term. And it's the
Yeah,
same like with the book. I only wanted to do it if it was going to get the outcome that I wanted. I didn't want to just write something in. If you know your circumstances are right, then it's the right time to do whatever your passion is.
yeah. Oh, I love that so much. And my key takeaway from that is it's not about doing things for a short term goal. It's about trusting the process and knowing that in the long term it's gonna work out and it'll lead to other opportunities, even if you don't know what those opportunities are gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've just got to keep things in your mind and know that, I'm someone who wants to do something all at once and
Mm,
straight away and do all these
yeah,
things.
typical.
But, you've just got to trust that the time will come
Yeah.
and you'll get the right opportunity eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, it's just said we've got a minute left, so I'm gonna wrap up and say our goodbyes and thank you very much. But I've also got a win of the week, so yeah, I'll say bye. Thank you so much for being on, and yeah, everyone subscribe. I'll add all of Harvey's links and website and everything in the bio. But yeah, what's
Thank
your win of the week?
you. My win of the week is just feeling in control, like I'm on top of
Yeah,
everything at the minute. So hopefully it stays that way.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, to be fair, mine was just not replying to clients when everyone knew we were off. So yeah, they're two good win of the weeks.
Yeah, thank
Perfect.
you.
Oh, you're welcome.